Everyone, the Person County Board of Education is now in session. We do have a quorum present this evening. At this time, we will be left with a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance by Mrs. Harriet Tillett.
Please join me in a moment of silence. And the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening, we have no one that has signed up for public comment. So at this time, we go to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes. Has everybody had an opportunity to review those minutes from December the 8th, 2022?
I'll move to approve minutes of December 8, 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
And anybody same sign here, none, the motion is carried. Dr. Peterson, adjustments to the agenda this evening.
Yes, ma'am. On your agenda, you'll see that I'm going to ask the board to consider removing item B, decimal 2, which is the Southern Middle School cameras. We still got some service contract issues we got to solve before we're ready for it. And then item C2, which is the TSI school retention bonus. You approved that as part of the Title I plan back in October, if I recall right. But now we have some specificity, whatever, I can't say the word. Anyways, we're going to tell you how much, and you need to vote on the bonus structure for that TSI. So that needs to be action rather than information.
Reported all that. At this time, we entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the adjustments as presented. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody same sign here, none, the agenda is approved for this evening. Next item on the agenda is Pride in Person.
Good evening. How are you all? Welcome. Good evening, board members, Dr. Peterson. It is always a pleasure to be before you and celebrate our people. Tonight, we are going to recognize, first off, our employees that have recently either initially certified, national board certification, achieved that level, and those that have renewed their national board certification. As you all know, it is one of the most rigorous professional developments that a teacher can go through. And I think it is just eye-opening to watch yourself and have to figure out what you're doing, what's not working, and to be really honest with yourself. And so I'm just very proud of our one and only initial certificate award person with National Board Certifications, and that is Miss Caitlin Clark from Stories Creek Elementary School. And what we're going to do is, we should have done this before, Miss Tracy, if you want to set them up.
If you all would come to the center, please.
Here you are, my dear. And we're going to get you a picture with the board. Okay. But how many hours did you spend on it, Miss Caitlin? A lot. a lot. It's well worth it. I'm very proud of you. Are you doing? What grade are you teaching this year? Second. Yes, ma'am.
I thought it was already on there, I'm sorry. I guess you want to get through.
And we're still very thankful that the state recognizes it, certification with a differential. So, and our renewal people, I think we just have one here tonight, but I will tell you the others. We have Mary Beth Howe from Person High School that renewed, Danielle Green from Helena Elementary, music teacher, and Amanda Vernon, art teacher, media and AIG teacher from Oak Lane Elementary. And tonight we have a special guest that renewed her national boards, and that is Miss Kimberly Solomon. Woodland, and North End, and Oakland.
All these
That's the Home Junior Small District. And they are a very blessed kid that is to have her. Thank you.
Congratulations.
We're gonna get her again in just a moment, aren't we? Okay. All right. Also, tonight we are gonna recognize those that have been awarded a Bright Ideas grant. So first off is Miss Jackie Priestaff. Her Bright Idea grant was interactive read-alouds. And Miss Priestaff teaches grade 4 at North Elementary School. Congratulations, I'm gonna get this going on. To get all of them together, or?
Yeah, we can do them all together, that's great.
Just
Pick
one
my
second.
spot.
Next, we have Miss Shelley
Congratulations.
Nance.
You get pick spot you
And
want. You
Miss
can-
Nance did Music Unites People. Help music be a messenger. So, and of course, Miss Nance teaches band at Northern Middle School. Woohoo! Next up is Miss Kim Solomon. She had a grant for help us get fired up. Next, we have Mr. David Alto Jones, and his is if they build it, they will get it. And this next is Miss Kristen Hernandez. And Miss Kristen teaches art at South and Kristen's is art and agriculture outdoor classroom.
Awesome.
And Miss Stephanie Hopper from South Elementary also. She is doing interactive zoo adventure with kindergartens, right? Yeah. And Mr. Richard Coach Hughes and his Bright Idea education grant was the Adventures of Captain Laker and the Hula Huts from the Third Dimension. And last but not least, and she's not here, but Miss Elizabeth Sennett from South did 5th grade creation stations.
Okay, let's see. Miss Bratcher, yep, that's good. One more. Thank you.
And we would love to, if there's a culmination activity or anything like that, we would love invites to see your good stuff. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Good to see you. You too.
Thank you.
I made an error. We need to add the Person High School ADA compliance contract for the first iteration of the commissioner funding. And if we can add that
To amend to
to
approve the-
D3,
D3.
yep. And the contract's on your desk beside you.
Okay, it's right here. Design consultant.
Yep. This is the agreement with Smith Senate, right? Yep.
So if it's entertain a motion to amend the agenda to add item D3.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. Hearing none, it's been approved. So on the administrative reports, Dr. Peterson.
All right, now that I think I'm here. We have really good news on the person-teacher pipeline. We talked a lot about this as part of the school improvement plan, but we also gave reference to it as it relates to our partnership with UNC Chapel Hill. We did have a meeting with UNC, Piedmont Community College, and our reps in both the curriculum area and the administrative area. And we're at a point where we are ready to do the letter of intent. And This is just an information item just to share with you that we're going to move forward, and when it's finalized and the MOU is ready, then we'll bring that MOU to you for approval. But remember, this is all about the 2+2 program, where we will recruit students at the high school or at Peaceville to become teachers. They will do the 2+2 program at Piedmont Community College. They will go to UNC and finish up at UNC debt-free. And then with the expectation that they come back here and teach. The second part that's not on here, but it is, we found out, I think it was Monday or Tuesday of last week, is that the grant, not the grant, but the gift that UNC School of Ed was going after to pay retention bonuses for years 1, 2, 3, and 4 for these kids, that came through. And not only are they going to do that, they're going to, if they can't find housing here, they will pay travel for them to come here, or a stipend. And they are also the grantee, or ever how you want to call it. He's anonymous now, but we'll have an event that you and I will probably need to attend at the end of the month at UNC. And then at that point, I'm assuming we'll know who it is. But he's also, their family is also asking for there to be an AP institute, as it correlates with that, with the idea that we would send folks that we feel like need extra administrative staff development to become principals. And they will do that for free, with a travel stipend expense and all that good stuff. So excited about the opportunities that are out there. Chatham County is going to be our county partner, Dr. Jackson, and he and Dr. Jackson and I spoke at length today about it. And it's just refreshing to know that there is money being spent in ways that attracts people to rural education. So looking forward to that being an opportunity for our kids to take a part, or anyone who is at UNC that wants to come teach in a rural setting. So.
Next item is administrative services, Dr. Anthony. This is First High School PC field trip.
Madam Chair, Dr. Peterson, board members, we're having a wonderful day. The first item tonight is for our field trip out of country. And Sergeant Major Myers, if you'll join me up at the podium, please. You know Sergeant Major Myers and our Rocket Battalion, you know that he always challenges those young people, pushes them to be their best, and he's committed to providing them with unique opportunities. So this summer, Sergeant Major Myers wants to take some members of the Rocket Battalion to Vietnam for about a 15-day excursion. Sergeant Major Myers is a brave man, to take some of the students so far, but we have full confidence and faith that those students will travel safely. So the cost of the overall cost of the trip is about $75,000. It breaks down to about $5,000 per student. Sergeant Major Myers informed me that there are fundraisers that are ready to start if the field trip is approved, and he's committed to any students that want to go, that can't afford to go, that they will find the funds for those students to go, so they won't be excluded because of funds. In the board packet, there is a itinerary, a breakdown, and a summary about the trip, including how the students are going to get visas. They have a seasoned guide that will be with them the entire time they're in country. One thing about Vietnam, Sergeant Major Myers shared with that it is a relatively safe country. They have very few violent crimes. I know it's a thing that we are concerned about as our students are traveling, not only within the country but abroad. So if you have any questions for me or Sergeant Major, we're ready.
I did have one question as I was reading over
Yes,
this.
ma'am.
Do you need an extra chaperone?
Never say no to a chaperone.
This is an awesome opportunity.
Yes, it is.
Well, Ms. Taylor, I volunteer first, but I would prefer if you want to take my place if you need one.
Can you take Dr. Anthony and drop him off?
You want me to hide him somewhere? Come
There
on,
you
man.
Hey. Also, I spoke with Sergeant Mitch. We're going to have male and female chaperones on this trip, so fall in compliance with our board policy. Are there any other questions?
Commend you for taking this on.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I am just, like Dr. Anthony said, just committed to the mission of JRGC, helping these young cadets become better citizens. And one of the things that we want to do is have them to be able to understand what some of our men and women have went through in country. And then the hope is to, after this trip next year, close it out with a trip up to DC and visit the monuments and kind of close this out, and then hopefully being able to incorporate this into JRGC in the future to keep it going.
Is there any chance, that there would be chaperones that were Vietnam veterans?
I've been working with the veterans in Person County. Unfortunately, as a discussion I had with the gentleman in the back, it's very difficult for Vietnam veterans to go back.
I know, yeah, I can see that would be a
And
hurdle,
so,
but.
and I understand that completely. So we did look to do that, but there are Vietnam veterans that are a part of this organization. The grandfather of one of the cadets is the owner and proprietor of the organization that has done these trips, and so he will be with us along with another veteran, Vietnam veteran, of course myself, a veteran of several conflicts. And so I think that we will be able to help to express to the cadets the importance of where we are and what we're doing. And then we are able to, the good thing is that we are able to, with this tour, to make it personal. So if there is a veteran that served in Vietnam and the family, if they want to visit where they were, see where they may have lived, we're able to do that. And so I'm hoping that as we move forward, the cadets will be able to ask kind of questions and where did you serve and where were you at, and to be able to go to those places and see exactly where their grandfather or uncle or someone served.
That being a part of my era, that, you know, I can see the tremendous value in exactly what you just said. I also see the hurdle that veteran would have in returning to them, but, that's fantastic. This is great. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other questions? At this time, we have a motion to approve the Person High School ROTC field trip to Vietnam is presented.
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. Hearing none, your field trip is approved. If you need a chaperone for the chaperone, right there. Miss Tiller and I will go.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank
for your
you.
service, Sergeant. Next item of business, Madam Chair, is our food service management company update. So the school system is putting out another solicitation to run the school food services program for next year. We're currently under contract with Aramark. However, the school system has decided to gather additional proposals from multiple vendors prior to deciding the food service vendor for the 23-24 school year.
Any questions concerning the contract?
Is the contract we currently have just a one-year contract?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
I learned all about that last.
Last, you want to commit it?
Yeah.
And this is for information only. Cause it's,
Yeah.
there too.
Yes, ma'am. Information.
So it's my understanding what has happened is they've had to go back through Dr. Ward, Lynn Harvey, and just do some reiterations of the current RFP that we had out last year. And what you're doing is giving, or we're letting you know we're going to put it back out,
Okay.
and then we'll gather information and bring a recommendation if it's needed to move forward.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Mrs. Blanchard, Clinical Instruction Accountability, PCC as a high school agreement.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Peterson. I bring before you the 2-year Piedmont Community College and Person County School Adult High School Agreement, and the affiliation is order for us to run the adult high school program through Piedmont Community College would allow our students to gain their high school diploma through Piedmont Community College, and we would be able to count them in our graduation rate if they participate this way versus earning a GED. So this is just a renewal of the program from last year.
Any questions for Mrs. Bradshaw concerning the agreement affiliation as presented? Hearing none, this time entertain a motion for approval.
Move to approve.
Is it second?
Second.
All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Title I, school retention bonuses. Here it is.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Peterson. This, again, I believe Dr. Peterson said at the beginning of the meeting, this is bringing you some details regarding the $101,575.55 that was set aside in our Title I budget that you approved back in October for the purpose of recruiting, retention to our Title I TSI schools. And we did not have specific amounts back then, but we have come together and kind of drafted what we think would be right for this year based on the amount that we were able to set aside. Each year we are allowed to set aside a maximum of 5% of our Title I budget to do this. And so that's what that 5% came out to, that amount that you see there. But a reminder, our Title I TSI schools are North Elementary, South Elementary, and Northern Middle. And just as a part of our effort to retain staff in these schools, we're recommending that we provide bonuses to certified staff and non-certified instructional staff. Certified staff being $1,000, non-certified instructional staff being $500 to be paid out in January. And then we have some itinerant staff that work only a certain percentage of their time in these schools. We recommend that we receive the portion that's equal to the percent of time that they work in the schools of the 1,000 or the 500, depending on if they're certified or non-certified. Happy to answer any questions.
And approximately how many staff will this be?
We're at the total number. I don't know if we actually totaled it up. We have the list.
That's fine. Any questions?
It's the vast majority of the staff at each school,
Okay,
at each school
alright,
site. Yeah.
okay. Any questions for Mr. Warren? At this time, entertain a motion to approve the Title I TSI school retention bonus as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Jill says a little over 100.
Oh, okay. That's good. All right. Next item on the agenda is operations, and this is Oak Lane Playground Equipment.
Madam Chair, Dr. Peterson,
Good evening.
board members.
Sorry, Mr. Clayton, and Ms. Meston, is this coming before the board just as information with it coming for approval in February, the Oak Lane?
I would like for it, because the 10th day is on Sunday. What I think the recommendation is going to be is if there's no, if there's no response to it, that we can move forward. If we don't get a response, if we do, then we'll bring it back.
At the end of the 10th day.
At the end of, it's 10th day is Sunday, right?
Yes, sir.
The meeting has to occur 10 days after the notice.
Doesn't sound like we can't do it then. All
But
right.
it could be an information item for
Information.
next.
Okay, so, the Oak Lane Playground, the purpose is to obtain approval for the contract with Creative Space Playscape for the installation of a new playground at Oak Lane. The financial impact would be $123,700. The current equipment is outdated and needs to be replaced, which our staff will recommend at the appropriate time the replacement, approval for the contract and the replacement of the equipment at Oak Lane.
And this money comes from,
It's,
Part of the preschool grant money.
stabilization, like ESSER type money that preschools, that the daycares receive.
okay,
Next on the agenda is,
Custodians.
custodial services, RFP. The purpose is to provide the board members with a proposal for custodial services. The background is, Preston County Schools entered into a contract with custodial services agreement with an outside vendor July 1st of 2020. Based on the agreement, the contract must be bidded out every 3 years. The attached request for proposal outlines the timeline and expectations for this agreement. The financial impact is $1,342,136.49. The recommendation of the staff is the staff recommends approval of HES facility management proposal and seeks permission to begin contract negotiations. And also attached is the financial piece for the bids. Is there any questions?
Mr. Clayton concerning this proposal?
just, question of why you decided on HES is not the lowest bid.
Yes, ma'am. So HES proposal provides 15 additional site positions. Along with their proposal was much more detailed in the obligations and the procedures that they would take to keep our schools clean. So their proposal was much more detailed. And upon evaluation of the RFPs, HES scored the highest on the rubric than the other submissions.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Any additional information is needed? At this time, entertain a motion for the approval of the proposal of the HES facility management as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign, hearing none, the proposal is approved.
The last thing we have is an agreement with Smith Senate for architect and engineering of the project that Dr. Peterson alluded to at the beginning. To obtain proposal of a contract agreement with Smith Senate Architectural for the improvements to ADA access and to increase safety and security measures within the building and the grounds at Person High School. The background, the scope of work includes identification and improvements of non-ADA compliant areas of the campus and inside the building itself. The financial impact with Smith Senate providing us with architectural plans and submittals will be $1,068,000. It's the staff recommendation that Preston County Board of Education approve the contract with Smith Senate Architecture.
Any questions concerning the contract agreement with Smith Senate? Hearing none, entertain a motion for the approval of the contract with Smith Senate as presented.
Who moved to approve?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign, hearing none, the proposal is, agreement is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Peterson?
Given that we couldn't do the Oak Lane playground equipment, I think we need to get on that as soon as we can. And we're supposed to be at a majority of the board's going to a chamber banquet next Thursday. Could we get together next Thursday at 5 o'clock for the sole
To vote.
purpose of voting on this playground equipment? and we'll put out the information tomorrow. And then that way, if we don't have any respondents, we can deal with it.
So it's 5 o'clock, January 19th.
Because the last time we did a playground, it took forever to get the material here. And I'm just a little worried about the money.
Anybody have
Is that, we could do that, right?
Your notice has to be at least 10 days. So right now, your notice says it's going to occur February 9th.
Notice for,
You have to post the notice for that.
when do we post a notice, Julie?
Posted it last Friday.
So, the meeting date has changed. So your notice needs,
So we got, so the notice has got to start over? Is that what I'm hearing?
that would be my recommendation.
Okay. So then that would put us, let's see, 7.
And Dr. Peterson, if I may ask a clarifying question, Ms. Maston, are these federal funds or are these state and local funds?
State officially.
Okay, all right.
Does that change anything?
Still a need to provide 10 days notice, but doesn't,
So with the 24th, that's the next time that most of you are together, because we're doing a staff event, and that's at 6 o'clock. Can we get together? Is that 10? Can we do it on the 24th then? Yeah.
Everybody be able to do 24th?
And so we need to post that with that date. January
that's right, if you
24th,
post tomorrow,
with
that,
that date.
the notice on the website that you intend to award it on the 24th.
And that would be here.
Yeah, we can do it here at 5 o'clock. Shouldn't take us long.
Okay.
And then we can reconvene over at the restaurant for the recognition dinner. And just so what we're trying to do is do a piggyback off the current playground that we had constructed. And so post tomorrow and we'll do 10 days. Okay. The other thing is it's Board Appreciation Month. So the gifts in front of you are from the school system, just to say thank you for all y'all do every day. Sometimes we talk more than we want to, but I know a lot of you do a lot of things behind the scenes, not only as it relates to board practices and the things that you have to do as a board member, but also the type of training that you have to go to. And a couple of you are going to be recognized in the February meeting with some training that you have done through the school board associations, and we appreciate all y'all do every day for the students and staff of Person County Schools. With that, Madam Chair, I recommend we go into closed session to consult with board's attorney and consider confidential personnel information and student information.
At this time, entertain motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
There a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please vote by saying aye. Opposed by the same sign, hearing none, we will go into closed session.
Days that have to go home as a result of our accreditation. But the big thing is a lot of the players that would be involved in that meeting are presenting at the NCASCD conference, and they're not going to be here. So I'm requesting that we either move it up or back so that we can have staff available to do the appropriate work session that we need to do.
So you want that to come on the 2nd or the 16th?
I may not be here on the 16th. Could we do it on the 7th possibly? How long are they gonna be at the conference?
Most of them will leave on the 7th because it starts on Wednesday.
Okay. 2nd is fine with me.
Anybody else have any
What
conflicts?
time for the work session? 4:30?
Yeah, I guess it's a work session.
Yeah, we
so
usually start at 4:30.
4:30, okay.
And this work session is all about school improvement. Because y'all got to do the interim standards And like I said, the biggest issue that's going to come out will be the interim standards that you'll set for the next 3 years to get you to the 4th year on the 4 goals. But there's also an Elliott piece that we have to do, and I want y'all to understand what we're doing when we're going in and looking at student engagement in classrooms. There's a lot of those. They're not evaluations, but a lot of those classroom visits will take place between now and the end of the year. And you, as the governing board, we want to make sure you understand what we're looking for and why we're looking for that. Because that set of data would then determine what would be our improvements through the CODNI accreditation piece, because they're focused on student engagement side. So there's a two-pronged thing that we've got to do. I call it probably one of your most important meetings we're going to do, because you're going to set standards, and then you're going to understand the standard that we're going to be moving to as a board.
Any questions?
So February 2nd,
Second.
do they need a motion to change that?
I think it doesn't hurt to amend your meeting
Okay.
schedule to reflect, February 2nd as your February regular meeting.
We need it as a motion, you entertain a motion?
Move to change our February meeting to the 2nd of Thursday, February 2nd,
At 4:30.
at 4:30.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please vote by saying aye. Opposed by the same sign, hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. At this time, I recommend the board approve consent items 1A through C.
Is there a motion to, I'm sorry, is there a motion to approve consent items 1A through C as presented?
So,
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign, hearing none, the consent items are approved. At this time, hearing no announcements, anything, we will.
I have a question.
Okay.
How, since the North Carolina Athletic Association has made their change in salaries for referees, et cetera, what does that, how has that impacted us? Are we okay with that, what's happening?
Right now, we're okay. We're very lucky in that we have a core group of referees that we maintain, especially for basketball. I can't give stat to it. We can bring that to you in February about the impact on the budget.
Okay.
The good thing for us, because I've been to every home game that we've had really good attendance at home games. What that's going to cut into is going to be more of your money that's going to stay at the school level. I'm going to be more worried about it next year, because then you start a budget new, and you're going to need more. You're going to have more officials for football than you do in your spring sports. So that's where it's going to cut into your revenue. And I'm not to bring something to you, but the same could be said for your coaches too. We need to look at the coaches supplement, because that hasn't been changed since 2017. And they've, just like referees, it's hard to find faculty coaches. And we really need to encourage faculty to be our coaches. We're wonderful to have great community volunteers that come out and have their time, but we've got to make some strides to meet that particular need. But yeah, it's going to hit the bottom line. I tell you what, Ron, we'll put something together. I can tell it's not bad enough that when I see A.D. Dacus over at the high school, he hasn't pinned me to the wall and said, Rodney, I need extra money. So right now it's not, but it will. I really think it's going to have more of an effect in the fall, because you got 5 versus 2 or 3. Yeah.
Any other questions, comments, concern? At this time, entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign, hearing none, meeting is adjourned for this evening.